app actually helps with like a successful mobility journey. We have a couple of, the video doesn't work, so it's okay. So at the end of the day, the way it works is that you have to do all of your application process online, digitalizing these processes for the students with different steps. So you have to complete your academic. Sorry? Okay, okay. So the application process is completely online, where students can apply, upload their documents, and consult the documents they need from their host universities. Then they also get all of their information online through application status and the updates that they have. Sometimes it might be rejected, sometimes it's officially subjected, and your application is accepted now. Okay, I was like, why is it going back and forth? And people get notifications on their phone. So that's the way it works throughout the application process. If I go back, it will play. Does it play automatically, or do I? No text, at least. So it's. Thank you. So indeed, we also develop quite a lot of these communication materials to help explain people what is actually in the Erasmus Plus app, right? No, let's gonna start again. So just to highlight, to showcase where we are currently already involved, but it might give you ideas for the future on where EMA can get more visibility, right? So we are linked to local sections at before, during, and after mobility stage, so students get informed that there is local organizations that will take care of them. Also, our discounts that we created are published inside the Erasmus Plus app, but also all the events that are being organized to support the welcome weeks, the organizations that are, the events that are organized to inform students about what they can do, have social cultural integration in their no home city. All of that is done through technical tools that we have inside ESN and then get published inside the Erasmus Plus app. So this is an idea that that might be interesting for EMA as well. Now, and that's actually where I want to go next and have a conversation with you to actually talk about what can we do and engage, make it more engaging for Erasmus Mundus alumni, but also students at the time to take part in the Erasmus Plus app to make the digitalization process also work for you, right? So that the tool, the map, it exists. The university information is slowly being implemented by your universities. The next step is then looking at, you have a more complicated process than the regular one-hop mobility. How can we make that work for you, right? Yeah, so, and we're gonna do a Slido, and so you can go on your mobile device or your laptop on slido.com or slide.do, both work, or use the QR code. And I have prepared 4 questions for you. The first two ones will be where you can actually rank what you find is most important, and then the next ones will actually be open, and then we can have a bit of a discussion. But here you'll see, for example, you'll be asked, what is most important for EMA students in the Erasmus Plus app? You have 7 different options, and you can rank them, and then once we've seen some of your results, we can have a bit of an interaction between me, you in the room. Yes. Normally, you should be able to rank them. You can select which one is your top 1, your top 2, your top 3, up to number 7. Let me know if it's working, right? Yes. Perfect. So that's how it should be working. Do you know, is everything okay when it comes to the options? Is there any questions on the options given? All the options are clear? Okay, so overview of mobility steps. So we have this thing called mobility journey, and it's supposed to guide you from, like, this is how you apply for your mobility, this is what you need to do during your exchange, and this is what you need to do to close your exchange. And then what I mean with the different cycles is because you have 4 times what, or 3 or 4 times what the regular Erasmus does. So that's why I call it, one of those is a cycle in my terms. So I mean, this is a question from us to you, right? So the student reports and the things that what regular Erasmus students can do is they can access their learning agreements, their grant agreements, their documentation, their language tests through the Erasmus Plus app. So that's what we mean with, like, okay, this type of information, this type of documentation, where is this stored for you, and how can you access them? But yes, so I'm trying to give you how it works for the current mobility structure and how can it work for you. Should it do the same things, but then adapt it to Erasmus Mundus? Do you not care about some of those things being in the app? It's kind of up to you to give your opinion on what would be useful for you.
Hi. These 2 points, that access to your digital European student card as a proof of student ID and access to personal Erasmus Mundus mobility documents, I think these should be combined. So there's like, instead of like these 2, because most of the students are international students, and these are like the documentation. So I think all of these important documentation should be in like together rather than
okay. That's a very relevant opinion. I think it is true that they can be in one spot. The differentiation is a digital European student card is actually a student card that you can use. So all of you get issued like a university card, right? A student card issued by your university. Well, the digital European student card is actually a card that you get issued that then when you go abroad and you go to another university on exchange or into your 3rd or 4th semester in a different country, if it's already issued, you should then be able to access your student rights, basically, through that card before your university is ready with printing your next card, which I assume is probably takes a while before you get your second or your 3rd card. So there's a bit of a difference between having the documentation for you to manage your flow, your experiences yourself. The digital European student card, you can showcase, for example, entering museums, showcasing that you're a student, and it's supposed to become this this digital tool that showcases European student, that you're a student at a European institution. So it's not about your nationality, it's about the fact that you're enrolled in a European institution, which means that then you should have the rights for accessing different support in Europe.
Right, I have another question. So like one of the point is a fully integrated application procedure. So this app, is it for the like students who are like, who get the offer and who are the Erasmus students, right? Or this can be used by someone who is going to apply for Erasmus program? Because if they're, because this point, like a fully integrated application procedure, like it makes sense only if it's going to be used by someone who is going to apply for Erasmus programs. But if they are already an Erasmus student, then like they don't have to apply, they don't have to fill an application or anything. So what's the point of
Exactly.
that case?
So the Erasmus Plus app starts basically from the moment that someone hears the word Erasmus, they should be able to open the app and understand, this app, these are the steps that I need to go to. So we have this we call it the mobility journey. And the first step is basically finding out more about Erasmus. So yes, if people hear it from ESN, then they will enter the app most likely, when they're on exchange. But that's why we're also working a lot on promoting the app as a tool for people to understand more about mobility. If you go to the first page of the Erasmus Plus app, you will already find more information about Erasmus Mundus, right? But right now, it then leads to outside of Erasmus Mundus, to the pages from the European Commission. And my question is, would you like, because the process for application for Erasmus students will be through the app. And then the universities can approve, accept, reject, right? So that it manages the entire backend of the application process. Now, the question of why we put it here is what would be important for you? Would it be important for you that these type of tools follow the same type of structure for Erasmus Mundus applications? Because right now, I think there is a separate portal that runs that type of applications, right? Exactly, and then we can take that back and we can say, okay, during the General Assembly of EMA, they said that they would prefer to have it also in one spot so that everybody gets the same type of information, the access.
Is very complicated. People have many questions sending, repeated questions sending to those coordinators, and they are also overwhelmed sometimes. And sometimes they come back to the national chapters asking those people, can you help me with this application on solution? So this is a really good idea. Also, in the previous rule, there was a limit of 3 applications. This could have helped a lot to control that, but now the limit is gone. But that still helps. Maybe people don't need to write everything again and apply again.
Yeah.
They can choose the consortiums.
Exactly.
It will be really
So,
helpful
so,
for
so
students.
the way it works now for Erasmus students is that they go through one application process, and they can indicate which universities, which destinations are their preferred destinations. Then they can indicate when they want to go on exchange, and then they will see for each university which type of documents that they need to upload, and then they upload it once, it gets sent to the different universities. And they say they have to indicate which are the priorities of the of the study in. So they say, okay, depending on what the university allows, right? So this is then maybe more an Erasmus Mundus decision. But for example, university can say, you can maximum apply for 5, 3, 10 destinations. So they could say this type of priority list that would be set. Exactly. So the information gets directly pushed inside the other university system, basically.
Can I just also add something? I think it would also be helpful context to say that women I met before at a conference about this Erasmus Plus app, and something I really noticed is that Erasmus Mundus wasn't really integrated into the app at all. So this is why we also invited Wim here to be like, is this interesting? How can it work? So all of these very technical details of like, where it's the application is going to and who exactly does it would all be like way down the line. And now it's just like, could this work for Erasmus Mundus? And what do we here think could be interesting for Erasmus Mundus students in the future. Kata?
It would be really useful then to know what you would need to make this happen with Emma. So what if you had the ideal recipe that in the next 2 months we take actions, what would you need from us?
It's a bit more complicated than that, unfortunately.
You ask things of us. So
Yeah,
that
so
we know
the first step for us is to better understand what you guys what your needs are, right? So to understand what are your priorities, what things would be useful for you and what things would not be useful for you. Now, together with the European Commission, they're actually drafting the new call for tenders that are going to develop these type of features. So I need to go back to the European Commission and tell them, in this General Assembly of EMA, they said this, and this. This is the feedback of the people. This is what they would like to see. Then the European Commission makes a decision what they will put in the next tender, and then the service provider from the app, which is not us, luckily we don't have to code all of that, need to put this in the technical tools behind the scenes, right? And then it gets offered to the universities that need to start implementing it. So it is a long process to digitalize all of these type of tools.
So what Emma needs, I think the app can definitely be segmented into 2 different audiences. Like one is prospective students who is applying, who will apply to MGMDs, which is very complicated through the app to centralize the whole decentralized system, which top-down different process, difficult process. But one thing that we can do is use, what was the option? Number 2, tricks and tips. So once you get selected, so I think there are a lot of similarities between Erasmus credit mobility students and degree mobility students. I also did 1 semester in Madrid. There is no difference between someone who is coming from Germany to Madrid and me to Madrid. So in there, I see same information can be disseminated to 2 different organizations. So this is something that can be of use to both the organization and other Erasmus organization. But the previous step, the application one, it will take time and a lot of top-down decision making. Yeah, but I think some of these steps are definitely useful. That will definitely help MGMD students.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. And my question will be like, so if it's gonna be approved, does it mean that all it's gonna be a mandatory, like all the applications that are to be made will be supposed to be made through the app? And the second question is like, if maybe it's implemented in the start operation, is it gonna be like, is it going to be maybe to establish like a coalition between the app and the community portal, or something else?
I think that's a very good question. So what I was showing earlier today, or earlier in my slides, is that we have 3 different portals as ESN International, right? That feed into the Erasmus Plus app. We have our discount portal, esncard.org. We have our activities portal, activities.esn.org, and we have our membership portal, which is accounts. All of these push data inside the Erasmus Plus app. So in that sense, it is possible for Emma, if you make the right API connections, to push data inside the Erasmus Plus app. Right now, we're pushing this directly into it. What is also on the table, but I don't know how far that's going to go, is that each organization gets like a different affiliation. So you can put Emma or your regional chapter is. You still have the regional chapters, yes, right? Okay. Okay, so that you can push your data saying like, oh, okay, ESN Italy posts this, or the Erasmus Mundus joint master degree of this program pushes this type of information inside the app. That will be possible, but then your community portal needs to be pushing that information inside the Erasmus Plus app.
About the model application, is it going to be like, is it going to be like a compulsory, like if the call for application for different programs announced it, is like, is it going to be the compulsory, like all applications should be made through this, the app, otherwise?
I think that will be a decision that the European Commission at the end of the day needs to make. So I will take your feedback. If that's something that you would like, more centralized places for application, then we can bring that feedback to the European Commission and we can say, look, you're centralizing everything for Erasmus. We would like you to do the same. But that's maybe a question that maybe with a show of hand, you can show if that's something that you find interesting or that you would like to keep decentralized, right?
Yeah, maybe in the very last 3 minutes that we have, we can just kind of do this show of hands like you suggest and say, do we, who are here representing Erasmus Mundus students and alumni, think that having a centralized platform such as this Erasmus Plus app would be something interesting for future Erasmus Mundus students and alumni? Shall we do a show of hands?
Yeah, can you take a picture?
I think that's a majority, yeah.
Great. Thanks. Maybe if I, because then maybe we can actually finish with this question and you can still write a couple of comments because I have 3 more minutes or? It will stay open so you can keep on putting your comments there. It's the same link. It should be your next question that appears.
I was saying that if we have a centralized application system, for example, it could lead to so many spam application or something like that. Like I could decide to apply to 163 programs even when I'm not qualified. So basically I upload like all the documents needed. I just keep clicking on the programs, like because now there is no limit to the number of programs. So once you have a centralized application, what will motivate me to like put in the work and actually apply to the right programs instead of just like clicking the names of the program or something like that.
Because, sorry, I think there's a limit to how many you can apply for.
No,
so
before,
if you
but
have like
now,
a
I think now there's no limit, but before now it's 3.
But your application is still judged based on like your motivation letter and everything, so you can't just copy and paste your motivation to everywhere, I guess, right? Like it has to be a bit tailored. Yeah, that's a great concern though. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good concern.
Can I ask you a question? Like, I just wanted to ask, since we are Erasmus Mundus students and we are, I don't know in what level are you collaborating with the universities, but whenever we move from one universities to another, we have like a lot of documents required for visa. So can this be a platform for communication between universities and the student regarding like these processes as well?
So right now, a one-on-one conversation is not possible. What is possible is that the university gives, so I was talking about this university these journeys before, right? Universities can publish additional information to students to inform them about what are the regulations. So they can say, okay, this is the rules for this, and these things can be adjusted based on the mobility journey you're on. So if you're an Erasmus Mundus and you follow the mobility journey of an Erasmus Mundus student, this information they can adjust, right? They will also be able to send you push notifications, but it's not possible to do the in the app at this stage a communication between the university and the student itself. It goes through the help desk, basically.
Another question I have is in terms of mobility documents that you mentioned, will the universities upload these documents, or we have to, as students, by creating our profiles, we need to upload them so it is accessible and we can download them anytime?
So right now, this works that everything is connected through there and you log in and you create with the same login. You go to, for example, the learning agreement and you set it up. And then you can access it through there. And then the idea is that it gets pushed back into the space so that you have one document hub, let's say.
Thank you. I think it will be very useful for all of us.
Thank you so much for your feedback. And you can continue to come up to me. I'm here for the rest of the day and for tomorrow morning as well. So you can come up. Yeah, exactly. You can always come and talk to us about this. Thank you.
So do you have the presentation for IHS, no? So Martin, how can I introduce you? My partner for this contract, Dr. Martin Unger. He works for the Institute of Advanced Studies in Vienna. I don't know if you remember, some of you were in Vienna, and he hosts a management board meeting exactly before the General Assembly there in the Institute. And yeah, Martin is working for the Graduate Impact Survey, the last edition and this one. And another, no, it was 2019, 2020. And we have the results, and he is here from Vienna this morning. He arrives, and then we are very happy that he was able to make it because he's leaving afterwards. But you are going to stay like longer? A little bit. So you can have feedback with him and talk with him. So please give him a applause.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the welcome. Anyhow, thank you very much for having invited me. I'm going to present you only some of the results of the very recent EMA Graduate Impact Survey. It's absolutely hot off the press, so you're the first one to seeing this and to hearing about it. It's already not yet available online even, so it's really first thing. These kind of graduate surveys we are doing, this is the third one we've done now for EMA, but I was informed that the previous service provider, they already have done it for like 10 years or 10 these kind of rounds. And this graduate impact survey is kind of an invention of EMA. We are doing this in the current contract. We're doing this for the Western Balkans. We are doing this for Africa as well. But this is the original. This is the, the core product. All right. Now I have to figure out how it goes. Ah, this one, okay. Okay, some short background information. Do I get a monitor here? Does this work as well? I see only a pink screen, actually, very sexy. Okay, that's the background. Why is it done? And again, mostly this had been ideas of EMA, like 10 years or even more ago. It should cover the satisfaction of the alumni with their programs and the outcomes of the mobility, the impact on the further life of their alumni, the question, what do they do after the Erasmus Mundus? Do they continue studying a PhD or whatsoever? Do they go on the labor market? And if so, where do they do it? Where do they continue studying and so on? And then there's a short section about the EMA membership. The last round, it's like the Commission wants to have it, results from those who have graduated last year, 5 years ago, and 9 to 10 years ago. It's an online survey. The graduates receive invitations via email from the European Commission, and maybe there are some here that participated. The last round was done more or less a year ago, last June. And we covered the cohorts 10, 11, so when you graduated, not when you started mobility, but when you graduated, 10, 11, 15, 16, and 19, 20. So it was right, the last one was right when COVID started. In these cohorts, there are in total 8,729 graduates, and they were all invited as far as the emails are still existing in the in the database of the Commission, and if they are still valid, because they might be more than 10 years old when they graduated, and they are collected when they started, so it's already 12 years old, and so on and so on. So 2,000 participated, and not only participated, but filled it in completely, because it's quite a long survey. So there are also some dropouts, but 2,000 finished it. And that gives us a return rate from 23%, which is quite okay for these kind of surveys. And some of them 10 years old data and so on. So we are waiting these results to make them representative, because finally, after several years, we got now an accept from the database of the Commission. So we are waiting, adjusting the data by age group, by gender, by region of origin, by field of study, and by one of these three cohorts. So for these values, at least, it should be representative. Yeah, some of the backgrounds. That's the country of origin, measured here by citizenship, but mostly it's more or less it's the same citizenship, country of origin. And you see that in the different cohorts, the composition of the students and later on the graduates was quite different. So in the 5 years after cohort, there were far more people from Europe than in the 2010, like 10 years ago, or in the last one. And although if Europe has a far higher share among the graduates, then obviously all the other regions in the world have a smaller share. But yeah, we splitted them several parts of Asia, because we could have done all Asia together, then it would be the largest part, but you will see in some of the results later on, it makes sense to differentiate more, not just by geographical continent or so. Yeah, during the Erasmus, how did the graduates fund their mobility program? And the dark blue are those who only lived from the scholarship they got, and the light blue are the ones, is the share that had additional funding from any kind of sources, most probably the parents available. And these, for example, correlates very strongly with the region of origin. And of course, it also more or less correlates with GDP of the countries somehow, if there's more money accessible or not. But these could be a political issue as well. If the EU students get more than half of their funding from other sources, so maybe one could also differentiate the scholarship by the regions of origin. Just an idea what you can do with these kind of results. Another one is the question if the students were, or the graduates were satisfied with their programs. Here we differentiated by the fields of study. However, you see that there's not a big difference. If it was science or humanities or whatsoever, the dark green one, they were very satisfied, and the light green one, they were satisfied. So both together, it's like between 85–90%, which you will not get as a result when we ask European students about the European programs. It will be lower. But we only ask the graduates here. So if you do this kind of service with students, then of course there are also those included that will in the future probably drop out. So among students, the results are always a little bit slower because the dissatisfied are still there, so to say. But in overall, most of the programs, graduates are very happy about. The conditions at the host institutions, I hope you can read this at the back a little bit, but they were very much satisfied, but as you can see, the satisfaction level is a little bit decreasing in every of the issues we were asking for. So the youngest cohort, the most recent cohort, is less satisfied than the previous cohorts were. But still, library facilities, attitude towards international students, these are the top two. Facilities, study arrangements, and so on, they were largely satisfied, but there are also parts, there only a third of the graduates was really satisfied. Yeah? Could be both. That's something you have to do it then for 10 years and then compare the results with those for 10 years. Here we asked this, the people at the same point in time, namely last year, and some of them have graduated a year ago, the others have graduated 10 years ago. So it could be after 10 years, maybe you all will think even better about your mobility experience than you do now. This is where you cannot say from this kind of data. So there are, anyhow, there are areas people are more satisfied and there are areas people are less satisfied. This is an interesting story. It's the inclusion of practical elements in the study programs. That's something EMA graduates in the past graduate impact surveys. There's also open question, what would you recommend or what would you say, what was not so good and so on. And this was always the top issue, the number one issue. The graduates missed contacts with the labor market, with lecturers from industry and so on. And here you can see it is increasing over time. So somehow these critics from the previous surveys have been taken into account, or at least the programs changed, whatever was the reason, but they improved it in the way the graduates were hoping for. And it's about including more internships in the programs, exchange with industry and potential employers, and practical experiences within the program. These are the three issues they demanded most. Yeah?
Sorry to interrupt, but I did have a question because I think it might the data might very much change based on whether they're self-funded or scholarship.
Could you go a little bit
Sorry,
closer?
why is it only scholarship holders that were sent this? Because I think the data might very much change depending on whether they were self-funded or not.
Because the Commission does not store so far the data from the non-scholarship holders, but they are starting now with this. So in the future, they will be included as well. Okay, impact not only about the programs, but on personality, further life. What they graduates rank, what had the most impact on their personality. So number one, no, I go by here. I'm not sure if you can read it. It has an impact on my career. It has it's improved my subject-related experience, so in my field of study, on my personality, on my private life, my intercultural competences, my attitudes towards Europe and the European Union, or any other. And you can see that this already starts to differ a little bit depending on where the graduates are coming from. Like in the Middle Europe and Middle East, Central Asia, the personality impact is ranked very high. In Africa, or graduates from Africa rank impact on the career very high, and so on. So it's not one program and has the same impact on average for everyone. What is also interest, this is probably a little bit more of interest for the Commission itself, funding this. Do the graduates still have contact to the host institution, or to fellow students, or to other people in the area where they studied? Here again, you see it is a little bit time depending, but again, it's the same answer like before. One answered it 1 year after graduation, so it's more likely that you're still in contact with fellow students and so on. And the others answered it 10 years after. But still, with the fellow students, between 70 and 90% are still in contact. Even with lectures, a third to 40%, which is also quite high, I think. Did they visited the host institution again after the program? For academic or professional purpose is the first three. And of course, this is more or less by time constraints not possible that a lot of the people 1 year after, and that it was during the COVID pandemic, that they really went back to the university. But also they came to visit the university for private reasons, at least a few of them. Do they live in the host country? Yes. And again, here you see the time passing differently. So those 1 year after, they are more likely to still live in the country. Those 10 years after are more likely to have left the country. But they want a third, about all of the different cohorts want to live or want to go back to the host country. Yeah.
Do you have more specific information of which countries this is about? Because you have multiple destinations, right, as an Erasmus.
Yeah, we have some of the informations, but and I have some of them on one of the next slides anyhow. Okay. What is a little bit tricky, I can, this would have been one of the very last slides, but I mention it here now, is actually there are not enough Erasmus Mundus graduates. If only a quarter fills in the questionnaire, that definitely means we cannot say anything about individual programs, because we might have 5 questionnaires per each program. That would not be very reliable. And of course, then you have the larger European countries that enough people answered the questionnaire from, so they are ranked on top, and there will be more in Germany than in Malta or so, or in Luxembourg or whatever. So it's very much biased by the size of the country or the number of institutions, actually. Okay. Where do they live now? I have to step back a little bit. We differentiated here those who come from the European Union and those who come from any other country. Let's say started in the top. More interesting probably are those who are not citizens of the European Union, at least not before they started the Erasmus Mundus. So far, 27% of them, of all the 3 cohorts together, moved to one of the Erasmus Mundus host countries. 44% returned to the country of origin, and 29% moved to a third country. So they are neither in their home country nor in the host country, or one of the host countries. They moved further on to another country. Yeah, and then it's a very similar question to the one before. Would you like to live in one of the host countries, but it didn't work out so far? Among all graduates, it's a third. They want to live in one of the host countries. Those who went back to the country of origin, it's even more than half. They want to live in one of the host countries. And among those who went to a third country, also like a little bit more than a third of the graduates want to go back to one of their host countries. So there's a lot difference where the people are living, or even in one of the next slides where they are working, and where they actually want to live or work. Yeah, this is the next about the career. Of course, when we have one spot shot, again, here it makes a difference. If they graduated a year ago or 10 years ago, what happens with them? In the most recent cohort, asked 1 year after graduation, 40% started working, or they already had a job doing studying, or at least during the last semester, and they continued this job. So 40% directly into the labor market. 21 continued studying anywhere in the world, actually, and any kind of program, but most likely it's a PhD program. 6% are in between. They did both, working and studying at the same time. 26% started a job search within the first half year after graduation, but didn't succeed yet. And 7% do something else, either studying nor working. And of course, you can see that there are a little bit differences between the cohorts, but we asked them, everybody was asked what happens during the first 6 months after graduation. And going to work, it was 10 years ago, it was 41, then it was 35, and now it's 42 again. And remember that in the middle cohort, we had a far higher share of European students, for example. So it's not that there was a financial crisis or whatsoever, economic cycle was down. No, it's more likely it's the region of origin that has an impact on what people are doing after graduation. So where did they look for a job and was it successful? If they looked outside of the European Union, 83% said it was successful within the first 6 months. If they look both inside and outside the European Union, it's kind of a middle category, but when they only looked in an EU country, 70% were successful and 30% were not yet successful, so to say. So it's a little bit more difficult for the Erasmus Mundus graduates to get a job within the European Union. And that is why so many move back to the country of origin and probably still say, I want to live in one of my host countries. So what about gender differences here? The big picture is gender differences, surprisingly, I have to say, are very small. There are bigger differences by cohort than by gender, and there would be more differences again by region of origin. But as gender in many of our questions has far less impact than we do similar studies only with the European students, then gender differences are huge. But here, kind of an average of a global community, they're somehow outbalanced. Far better than if we look into the European countries alone. So this is a concept from the research on what is the impact of education on your career, and do you end up in a career that fits your educational level and the field of study. And that's what we call vertical and horizontal mismatch. So vertical would be the degree you have. Is it, does it fit to the job you are doing? Or, and this is the opinion of the graduates themselves, say I am overqualified. Like I have now a master, but the job I'm doing could be done with a bachelor or even without any higher education. Then you would be overqualified, then it would be a vertical mismatch because you did not get a job according to your qualification level. Horizontal mismatch, however, is you study in one field, but you end up in a completely different economic branch. This is a concept, personally, I see a little bit critical, because it's not a failure if you end up in a different branch. Let's say you study something in biotechnology and you end up in financial industries, you could be a millionaire because you are responsible for an investment fund and they absolutely need your knowledge about biotech startups and so on. So this comes very much from the labor market research theories. They have this horizontal mismatch, but I don't think, so it does not mean it's bad or good. You have to dig deeper then. It could be a failure, but it could be a great success story as well. However, you see here, depending on the field of study, between 70 and 85% have a perfect match by degree level and by field of study. And then important is the vertical match, because this is the level that you're not overqualified for your job. So this is the second part. If you would add this, then we are getting closer to even 85, 90%. And this is, again, this is higher than when we ask this to European students. There are also different project, Eurograduate is called. And it's here, it's higher than what we observe on average in Europe. So this is a good sign actually also for the programs. Even if they did not end up at the country where they wanted, but at least they end up according to their qualification level and somehow in the field they studied. Okay, last questions about EMA. Who were the ones answering the questionnaire? Only between 7 and 10 regarded themselves as an active member, so like you. So probably you are the 10% here, or part of the 10%. But the blue part are the ones who are members of EMA, regarding themselves passive members. But if you take it together, then it's already 50% 1 year after graduation, and the older one, it's a little bit more than 60%. More important probably for you is the last, the red one. They're saying, I've never heard about EMA. And 1 year after, it's only 14%. I think it's only. Of course, it could be 0, but it's not 50, 60, 70 or whatsoever. It's only 14. And, very interesting, 1 year after, you have the highest share of active and the highest shares of not knowing about EMA. So you have the both sides, the highest part. Of course, it's 1 year after, probably you're more engaged in any association you're engaging, and 10 years after, you probably get family, job, whatever, move somewhere away. So it's not surprisingly, actually, it's only a little bit decreasing. That is actually the surprise, but not that it's decreasing. But that in the same cohort, you're also the most unknown. That is a little bit surprising. So when we look this by country of origin, you see I would say the black plus the blue, that's the membership, regardless if they're engaged or not. So you have highest membership from graduates from South Asia or East and Southeast Asia. And they are also the most active, the highest share of active members. Africa is also very high, the membership ratio, and also very active. And Latin America can still catch up a little bit. But what is also is again is the red part. I've never heard about EMA. Then it's North America and Oceania. They are anyhow different in many of the why we have also motivation. Why did you apply for an Erasmus Mundus and things like that? So they come for participate for completely different reasons than the rest of the world. The career, the impacts, they judge completely different than all the other continents. And here they also say the highest share, I've never heard about EMA. Yeah, what do they think about the membership? Are they satisfied with the membership? So that depends highly. If they regard themselves as active members, then they're very much satisfied. If they regard themselves as I'm only a passive member, they are not so happy, but I think that would be the same in a football club or wherever. That is not so surprising. It's, of course, the challenge for you is to get more from the passive to make them active. Then you will also raise the satisfaction level, probably. But I'm staying here. I can say this very easy, and it's a lot of work, I know, to engage, get them more engaged. Okay. What is the future of the Graduate Impact Survey? Okay, first of all, I have to say that these were just a small part of the results. There are far more in. I picked those I thought you might be most interested in. I left all those I think the European Commission would be most interested in. And there are some problems. That's mostly dependent on the small number of graduates that exist. And that's why the demand from the Commission is we should ask them 1 year, 5 years, 10 years after. But as you could see, we already put always 2 cohorts together, because 1 cohort is too small. Then we could not do the breaks by field of study, not do the breaks by region of origin, but they are the most interesting because they are the most differences. The problem is that now the graduates will get the same questionnaire quite often in time. The previous service provider anyhow always asked all the 10 last cohorts, and they got the same questionnaire every year in the same period of time, and they had to fill in 10 times the same questionnaire. And of course, the return rate was decreasing very much. So we at least lowered it a little bit. You get the same questionnaire twice, then there's a break, and then you get it again. Hopefully you forgot that you already filled it in twice. Then you will get it another 2 rounds, and so on. But it's still not very optimal. Yeah, one should think about how to improve it. At least if we ask them twice, maybe we should differentiate the questionnaire. For example, like defining a core questionnaire, the most important questions, and then asking them different modules, different topics in 1 year and in the second year. So it's not too boring for them. That would be one of the ideas we have. But actually the big question for us is, what can EMA make out of these surveys? At least historically, as I said, it was one of your inventions. Is it useful for you? And you say, no, we don't need it at all. Do you think it's okay like it is now? No changes are needed. Something should be reformed, and so on. Should we change the target group? Like, I mean, this double cohorting thing, or anything. So it can be content related, but as well organizational related. And for us, it would be really cool if EMA would set up or nominate kind of a small research group, 5 people, 10 people, whatever, that would work with us to improve, reform, redesign, whatever, this kind of questionnaire. However, it's now nearly end of May, and we still do not know what will happen with the next one. Because by contract, we should do one, but now there are some contractual, and if we do it, we have to do it in June already, so it's in 2 weeks. And that is not very much time to change the questionnaire and everything. If it turns out that we should not do it, then we have a year to change and to reform. Of course, people from the Commission would join this and have their opinion as well, and what they would make use of it. So currently, I unfortunately cannot tell you we're doing it in 2 weeks or we do it next year. I just don't know. We are prepared for everything, like usually. So, yeah. I skipped the first sentence. So the report will be, if EMA agrees to it, very quickly now on the website from EMA. But I think, where the colleagues, Patricia, I think we can mail the report to the participant as well. And I actually have a more extended version of this presentation with more text explaining the charts behind, so we can mail you this in any case. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, I am so amazed listening to some of these numbers, and I think that there's a lot of really amazing data in there, and a lot of I think challenges that we got to see from challenges for EMA, challenges that Erasmus Mundus students and alumni are facing. But I also like to think of those as opportunities, and that gives space for EMA to help fill some of these gaps. Or do anything else as well. So thank you very, very much to Martin. One more round of applause. That was extremely helpful. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. And I think Martin touched a lot on some points that I would also like to be speaking about in this presentation about EMA membership. And some of the challenges that Martin mentioned, people that we need to reach out to, people who've never heard of EMA. That's exactly what I would love for us to be talking about today. So those of you who were in the session with me yesterday, the breakout session, we talked a lot about membership as well. Sorry, is there a question? From who? Okay, oh, if you can ask questions, maybe you, are you leaving right now? Oh, okay, I guess you can ask questions, okay. Okay, or you could have done it after. Okay, here you go.
Sorry for, I was raising hand. Yeah. Just two things. One was a part of the presentation that one thing that I observed was the employment rate. The report said the people from 2010-11 had much higher employment level as compared to the new ones. So probably we need, when you were asking that what can be used of this survey, maybe we need to figure out and discuss and how this can be changed, why it has reduced. So that's the part of the survey part. Of course, we can discuss later. This important part is like a couple of people have approached me here and there, and we have discussed in the last few days and also today, like Carlos just now, that we would probably would help to make a working group or something like that in which we can work with GIS. We used to have a CQAB, as you already know, and we are still trying to get back our policy and quality assurance unit back to its work and get more projects like that. So we would be happy to collaborate on that topic, and I'm sure it can be done in a collaborative way. So yeah, that's a comment.
Yeah, thank you very much. That will be great for us.
Yeah.
And the labor market thing, it also depends that, of course, 1 year after, more of them continue studying. So 10 years after, they already have finished a PhD, for example. And then it's completely different labor market. So in some areas of the world, you get very quickly, depending on your field of study, you're very quickly overqualified when you have a PhD in some areas. It's also in Europe the case. If you do the wrong PhD, you're overqualified, and then you have difficulties getting a job.
So the question was, are they employed, and not that employment after EMGMD? Okay, because that probably that can be amendment of question to understand that how EMGMD helped them find a job.
I think that there were two different. One was what happened the first 6 months, and then it only refers to those looking for a job in that time.
Just a quick question, as I like. What exactly you want from EMA if you need something to do for this contract that's supposed to submit by June? Can you please send an email to our presidential team? What exactly you want from EMA's side? What type of support you need?
Yeah, I think for June it is more or less too late. The only thing I can imagine, that's what I told the Commission as well, we might, if someone is interested in, add 3, 4, 5 questions about COVID, for example. When you were in an Erasmus Mundus program in Europe, could you stay in Europe? Did you have to go home, continue it online? And what happened then to your job search afterwards? Something like that. But yeah, within the next 2, 3 weeks, we only can copy paste the last questionnaire, actually.
Got it.
All right, thank you so much once again, Martin. And if you'll be around, it would be great. Yeah, we can also compile any questions that you have and send them over in one email later. So feel free to approach anybody on the organizing committee with any questions about this. And this is definitely an opportunity for EMA to get more involved. And I think I can speak on behalf of the whole association that we would absolutely love to be involved in the future. Is it possible for me also to get my slide here? Thank you, perfect. So yes, as I was saying, today our topic. Yes, I'm aware, thank you. So our topic today is EMA membership, what membership means, what it means to be an EMA member versus an EMA volunteer, why is this important to talk about, and what we can do to center members in our association. So to start off with, oh, it's also, the button is not working as well. Okay, so then pop quiz time. And if you know the answer because you were in my session yesterday, then you can't speak up. What is the difference between an EMA member and an EMA volunteer? Well, you can't raise your hand. I'm not going to let you answer. Anybody else, would you like to take on this quiz? Yeah, you can guess. That is such a good guess because it's really wrong. And I love that you say it because I think it's such a misconception and it's really not clear. So thank you for being super brave and saying it. Yes. Yes, that's very correct. Would you like to add anything onto that?
Yes, additionally, I think the volunteers will have the option to vote in the assembly, and the members can't.
I love also that you brought that up too, because it's kind of correct because it depends on what you're voting for. Okay, so can I move to the next slide then? And I can tell you exactly what being an EMA member is. So there are some things that you guys said that were partly correct, some things that were completely correct, and some things that were completely wrong. So let's start with your guess first. So you said that it's somebody who receives an EM scholarship. So anybody who receives an Erasmus Mundus scholarship is, of course, eligible to be an EMA member. But there's also other people who are eligible to be an EMA member. I'm an EMA member, and I was a self-funded student. So it is not related necessarily to the scholarship. There's also different types of members. So maybe not everyone did the same type of Erasmus Mundus program. Some people did other types of programs. Some people in this room are in that way, you know, an ordinary member or a non-ordinary or an affiliate member in different ways. So I promise I'll show all of that to you on the slides as well. Then there's EMA volunteers. So are you a volunteer? Raise your hand. Let's see. All right. Are any of you volunteers not members, or are you all members? And how do you know you're members? Yes, because you're part of the community portal. So if you are able to log into the community portal, then you know 100% that you're a member. People cannot access the community portal without being a member, some kind of member. Or unless you're our service provider. Then you have like the back end and you can go in there. Yes. And there's also some people maybe who can't access the portal, but because maybe their membership is still pending. So the way you become a member is you apply through the community portal, and you have to submit documents that are showing that there's proof. Perfect. Okay, button's not working still. You have to show proof that you are a student or alumni and all of the other things that the rules are available on our website. And then someone also in our service provider checks those documents and makes sure that you're actually eligible to be a member according to our legal documents. And then you're in our community portal. So why is this important to talk about? First things first, our governing documents talk about members. Membership is a really important part of EMA because we are a completely members-based organization. Any changes that we want to make also in our internal regulations or our statutes need to be voted on by our members. So that's something that you mentioned as well, is voting. Members, we cannot make any major changes without members actually voting, right? Volunteers, who are also members, of course can vote, but that voting, for example, president, vice president, I want to change this document to say Gabriella is going to be president forever, members need to vote on that, right? So it's really important for the future of our organization, for every single decision that we want to make, that we are working with our constituents who are our members. Let's see if I can move forward yet. Not yet. Oh, maybe I can. Perfect. So also, the General Assembly needs to be available for all members, not only volunteers. So at the moment, because of kind of the structure and the funding and what's available, we're only allowed to invite a certain amount of people to the General Assembly. So of course, we're inviting our most amazing, motivated, awesome volunteers. In the ideal scenario, we would have 14,000 people, all of our members in one room together, and every single EMA member can be together in one place, but that's not possible. So that's why we're also doing live streaming. That's why any voting, for example, next year's presidential voting is going to be on the community portal during the General Assembly. Members need to be able to vote on things like that as well. The last thing, we are a community. We want to help fellow EM students and alumni and prospective students. And that is also what's at the core of this conversation. Why are we talking about memberships? Because members are our community, and we do these things for them. All right, so the 3 types of membership. Ordinary members of EMA, this is all very kind of legal jargon. Then there is, next, affiliate members of EMA, and honorary members. So all of this information is, of course, on our website. So if you're curious about all the legalities of it, come to me/Prashant, and we can answer any kind of questions you have about that. But that's kind of who's allowed to be a member. We'll talk about volunteering afterwards. Okay, so what is the difference between EMA members and volunteers? Volunteers work for EMA, so that's exactly what you were saying. PRs and CRs, you guys are volunteers, you're working towards our mission and vision, you're working towards our strategic goals, you're actually putting in the voluntary hours. Volunteers get a volunteering agreement and certificates and lots of benefits. Yesterday in one of our breakout sessions, we were talking about what are the benefits of volunteering, and people had so many amazing benefits that they were really happy with from their volunteering experiences. With membership, there's no automatic membership. You might automatically be eligible for membership, right, by studying an Erasmus Mundus program. But in order to be a member, you have to sign up through the community portal. There's 3 types of membership, and then there's the talk of benefits. And so I'm sure the management board is rolling their eyes because this has been my spiel for the last year, but always I'm thinking, what are we doing for our members and what are we giving to them? So officially on the website, what are the benefits of volunteering? Or sorry, these were not just from the website. This is from our talk yesterday. You learn new skills, you get experiences for your CV, you get recommendation letters, personal satisfaction, make an impact, make amazing friends, you get ESSA trainings and tangible benefits, of course, such as attending the GA. And according to our website, what are the benefits of EMA membership? That's the question. Number 1, you get to join an enriching network made up of EMA members worldwide. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think members have that benefit? Yeah. Okay. How? How do they get it? Mm-hmm. So through the portal, they join an enriching network made up of EMA members. Great. Then the next benefit, they gain special access to the EMA community portal. Do our members get this benefit? Yes? Okay. It's kind of the same thing though, right? Probably it should be under one. Then you get to help create better experiences for EMJM students and alumni. Do our members get to do that? How do active ones get to do that? Okay, so these kind of activities, definitely, if you maybe become a volunteer, you can help. You get to do different kinds of projects and stuff like that, for sure. Okay, so it's not wrong. Maybe not, it's not very clear how you get to do that. But I think that benefit also kind of came from back when we were also really involved in the graduate impact survey and the other stuff like that. And then the last benefit of membership, according to our website, is access to professional development activities. Not speaking from your volunteering experience, just as members. Is this true? How? Where and when and why? And so those are members that you are training. Okay. Which webinars? Like on our YouTube and stuff? So Genie Talk, stuff like that, super useful, super amazing, not for members. It's for the entire planet, right? Anybody? ESSA webinars, ESSA training, you mean? Those are volunteers. Volunteers do those. So it's another benefit of volunteering, yeah. Yes?
There was another webinar that we did for Genie. It was conducted by one of the alumni, which was about how to form their CV for like EMA members. I think it was for EMA members, and it was like just how to develop your CV, how can you reach out to employers on LinkedIn and other things.
That sounds super useful and amazing. So, okay, we have now one example that I can think of in the last few years of a professional development activity that was exclusive for members.
The intercultural coach training that they had last year, that the members could sign up.
Yeah,
and train.
Wasn't that Diana's project? Yeah,
Yes.
Was that EMA members? Or anybody could join, or you checked membership?
It was a group of 15 EMA members that received the training, and then they delivered workshops to all the new cohort of students.
Super. So it was through a volunteer had a project in EMA and offered a benefit to our members. Awesome. That's great. So if we move on then, what else can we actually offer our members? And these are some of the activities and ideas that we came up with in our group yesterday. More actual tangible benefits, partnerships and discounts. ESN, for example, has 10% off of Ryanair. If you sign up for ESN, you get your ESN card, you get 10% off of Ryanair. That's awesome. EMA at some point had some partnerships as well where we were offering 10, 15% off of something else, putting the discount codes on the internet, on social media. So also great opportunity, not exclusive to members, right? So what I want to talk about today is really specific to members, to the people who are in our community portal. Other promotional materials like EMA swag. Can we go back? Not there yet. Other promotional materials, nope. Promotional materials like EMA swag, career opportunities like all the professional development activities that you're doing. We had some great mentoring programs, trainings, eventually big events like career fairs and stuff like that. I think we could really, really improve on this and be reaching a lot more of our members, because I think we're all doing some small projects here and there, and if we all work together, we can greatly expand the amount of our actual members that we're reaching. Networking is a really big thing. The community portal is an amazing platform. Use it. We offer this as a tangible benefit to our members. We say, join and you get the community portal. Join and you get the community portal, but then what happens when they do join and nobody's active on it and nobody's doing anything? It's going to be a long time before they log in again. And then, of course, local and virtual events for networking and meeting people. Maybe you'll find someone who wants to do a similar project than you and everything. So some specific ideas from yesterday that we also came up with. CRs can do more than be just outreach, but also create local communities with meetups. If a CR is based in Berlin, why not have a monthly, let's grab a beer in Berlin with any Erasmus Mundus students and alumni. PRs can create cross-EMJMD networks, which are thematically based. So I did a master in migration studies. Who else has touched upon migration in their programs? Anybody? Yes, there we go. Absolutely. Exactly. Pepri literally did his thesis recently on migration, from a completely different program. Why are we not connecting through some kind of thing with our, cohorts and our programs? A buddy program was another great idea for EMA to do, to connect people similar to a lot of universities or ESN does, but saying, you're coming to this city, here's somebody who's been here before and can show you around. Language cafes. An example of this was, Tiago's living in Germany, wants to learn German. Once a month, he joins a language cafe virtually with other Erasmus Mundus students and alumni who just sit there and speak German because they're all based around Germany. Another idea would be local guidebooks. with tips and tricks, where to find an apartment, comma, visa issues, etc. So yes, a lot of this can be done through Emma's community portal, and this is a brand new initiative, so I also just wanted to highlight this a little bit. Of course, it's been a long time in the works, but the brand new community portal was just launched, like a month or two ago, and we really, really need you guys on there, because this is not only the biggest Emma membership benefit, but also where all the other benefits can take place. Because Tiago starts his language cafe, he puts on an event in Germany, and a virtual event, and says, hey, let's speak German together. Somebody else says, hey, I'm new in this country, I want to check out the map and see who's over here with me. Somebody says, I want to find somebody who knows graphic design, I'm going to check out members. And then I'm going to join a group for people who like graphic design, and I'm going to create it, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to post photos from my experiences. I'm going to upload maybe a document or post something that says, hey, does anybody know where I can find an apartment in Germany, right? So all of these amazing ideas that we all have for Emma to really help our members, they can happen in the community portal. So I'd just like to leave you all with a question, and I was hoping to have a bit more of like an interactive session and stuff, but I think we've completely run out of time. The question I'd like to pose to you all is, what can each one of us do to put Emma members at the center of our activities? And so if you're working on some really cool and amazing activity, think, who is the audience of this? Can I put it on the community portal? Who can I promote it to? Is it available for literally every single person in the whole wide world? Or is this just for Emma members? Think about the challenges and opportunities that we saw in Martin's presentation. People don't know about this, or they need help with this. One perfect example of that, he said not enough people were getting institutional access, learning from an organization or something directly. How can your projects address those concerns and issues that Martin brought up? And so I think there's so many opportunities for us here to really center members within our organization more. So yes, just please reflect on that throughout the day. I'd like to give the microphone to Sakina now to talk a little bit about volunteering very briefly, and then we'll be done with this session. And then we'll be done for the day.
Hello again. Thank you, Gabriella. And for the volunteers, as I explained yesterday as well, we all are volunteers, and no matter which unit you are a part of like management board or whatever project you are working on, everything is volunteering based. And of course, to have this organization running, we need volunteers. To have each project running, to have all these events running smoothly, we need volunteers. And we encourage people to join us and provide their services. That would be great if you can, since you all are a part of some units, but it would be great if you can join some other units, or spread the word among your friends as well, because we need volunteers. Currently, we have 167 current volunteers at the moment, and 25 of the current volunteers we have in last 3 months. Thanks to Rajun and Raturaj units, because they have hired a lot of new country representative and program representatives. And then, of course, we have volunteers around the world, no matter where you are. I live in Canada. I came from there. We have people from South America, South Asia. So our volunteers are spread all around, and most of the work is online. So you can easily volunteer wherever you are based, no matter even if you are a current student or an alumni, or no matter which year you graduated from your Erasmus program. So you are welcome to join at any point that you're interested to volunteer with us. Then yeah, we have a lot of interesting projects, and that you can work on, and as a benefit, like what's the benefit that you will get from this is that of course you will be working on different projects, very interesting projects that which you might not get a chance to work on in your professional experience or even in your academic experience. And then, of course, professional development kind of skills and the trainings that, like SR trainings, for example, that you will get a chance to get, for example, in leadership or project management. As an example, I remember that I joined EMA in 2018 as a volunteer. So then in 2019, I was invited to attend an ESSA training on leadership and project management. And in my academic experience or in my professional experience, never I had any opportunity like that. So this is like one example that you can also gain a lot of trainings in something which is different from your current working field. And of course, EMA is an excellent space for to get the chance to network with in an international environment and to volunteer. You feel great as well, and one of the benefit, one of my goal, not goal, one of the the thing why I am doing volunteering with EMA is that you feel good as well, that you get this opportunity to study in Europe. So you feel that you are also giving back to the community. You are also volunteering and making the experiences and these projects running for upcoming students as well. Some things is like, as I mentioned, that no matter which field or which unit or whatever your experience is, you are always welcome to volunteer with us. And you can check, I would really encourage everyone to check these positions, open positions at the volunteering, join us page on the EMA website. Currently there are many positions available, especially with PRs and CRs. And then we need, one example is we need in our finance team, in finance unit, we need someone, so we need in communications with graphic designing. So you can, even if you are not interested, or legal team as well. Prashant is really upset. So more than welcome to join, especially Prashant's team. Sorry? Yes, so. Yeah, we need volunteers in short, and it doesn't, if you want to learn about, for example, graphic designing, but you don't have any experience in graphic designing, so actually it's really cool that you can apply for a position related to graphic designing, and then since you will be working on real projects, you will get an exposure, and we help as well, your team unit lead and other team members will help you as well in learning, and you will get a good exposure in that particular area. And one thing I would encourage you to do, for example, when we get a lot of applications and we have a big database of applications where students send their CVs and motivational letters and things like that, but we give preference or priority to those applications which have a good motivational letter, that why they want to be to do this volunteering with us and what are the things they are looking for and the keywords. So I would really encourage, and even if you are going to spread this word among your friends, tell them to send their CVs with relevant keywords and a good motivational letter as well, because then this helps us in shortlisting candidates, and it helps me, for example, to divide the applications within different units as well, that maybe this application is more relevant to a particular unit and what their requirements as well. And if you think that, okay, from the number of the open positions, you think, no, I don't want to do volunteering with any of them, you are always welcome to email me with your CV and your motivational letter, and we will always find something for you, because as Ashikur said, we really need volunteers. So feel free to connect with me, and yeah, I would love to have more people on board. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, Manasseh? Let's do. Woo. All right, here's the clicker, here's the mic, and you have a presentation?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, see some exhausted faces, probably 11th presentation of the day. We'll keep it very short. So till the presentation is on, let me introduce myself. Manase Anand from India. I did my master's in computational mechanics, Swansea, Barcelona, Sevilla, and Milan. And then, yeah, previously was the director of the project support unit with EMA. And yeah, been volunteering since 2013. So right now, I'm going to talk about, together with Sheenam, the Accept and Respect project, which is one of the EU-funded project under Key Action 1. And then followed by that, we'll also have the presentation together with Christina on GoDigi project, which falls under the Key Action 2, which is Strategic Partnerships for Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. So great, waiting for the presentation to arrive finally. But for me, my arrival was quite a challenging one. Had the visa just a couple of days back, dinner in India, breakfast in Dubai, and then lunch in Copenhagen. So quite a exhausting journey as well, but thanks to the service provider. So maybe. Okay, so then we had a very nice productive session on new project ideas that we could probably conceptualize and take it forward in the coming months with the support of the project support unit. So probably right now I'll invite 3 group leaders we had, Afrodita, Raquel, and who was the Carolyn. So we got some good ideas. So they will explain what are the objectives, what problem they are solving, and then probably we can see if more volunteers are interested to join those projects, we can probably kickstart it in the coming weeks or months. So now I'll invite Afrodita to quickly brief about the first project. It's going to be an elevator pitch.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, my name is Afrodita Pustina, and I was having the session with Manase and with the other colleagues. Just a bit of history. I've volunteered with EMA for many, many years, including the CQUAB, and now we are here. So for the project support unit, we were having a discussion of how to support everyone, but also how to develop new projects. So one idea is that we would like to prepare a project package whereby any of the members that are interested to implement any activities can do so with a pre-prepared package. Or, for example, if you have an event of the ready-made agenda and so on, so you don't have to redo it if you want to use any of the EMA funds. And one idea that we had is that we would like to start a project proposal for reconciliation for our Ukrainian and Russian students. These are very sensitive projects whereby we would be bringing together students from Ukraine and Russia together, from our Erasmus family, to bring them together and to start that difficult discussion and the dialogue of reconciliation. This is very brief. I know we're pressed for time. Thank you so much. The other colleagues maybe have something else.
Thank you. Raquel, just a quick one.
Hello, Raquel Galeano. I'm the PR for IMASC. And so quickly, and taking a little bit of what Afrodita was saying in the meeting, we also brought up another aspect of support that students don't get from programs and that we could come in because we have the experience, and that is supporting students in terms of mental health. Yeah. So creating a project, there are many issues that come in with mental health. So from intercultural issues, loneliness, et cetera, et cetera. So the list, we came out with a list. The list is long, and I'm sure you could add others. So the idea is to create a project, take a few of the problems, main problems, bigger problems, and create actions so that we can support EMA members, but also other students that might not be EMA members in an aspect that is vital, because we receive a lot of support in terms of academic, yeah, from the programs, from the universities, but mental health, and especially how it affects us when we need to move constantly and we're affected by other issues, it's very important. So that's what we were talking, that's the other thing.
Thank you. Now, Carolyn.
Thank you. I'm Caroline from Indonesia, volunteering in EMA back in 2019 in Spark team. Because we are talking about projects, so back then we applied for 3 different ESA projects. 3 got accepted in 3 different size, small, medium, and big at a time. And then, so I was part of the Manase team for the breakout sessions, and we brainstormed of one big ideas of how to maintain the sustainability of Erasmus Joint Master Degree Program from the self-funded student perspective. The thing is, we boils it down to 2 different aspects, to people who comes from the EU and people who comes from non-EU. We actually have Camilo, who actually currently studying, and he's from Colombia, currently studying as self-funded student. So we get like some ideas on how. So the objective of the program, of the project, should be how to increase the visibility of first Erasmus, like the Erasmus Joint Master Degree Program, and then how to get this student who doesn't or who don't get the opportunity of getting the scholarship to get information about what option do they have. So what can we do in this project? Okay, some ideas could be a database of potential scholarship, but because we know it's a really different countries, we have 190 plus countries on the world, so we will need collaboration together with the country representative, first of all, and then program representative. So it's, could be a big project in one sense, but if we would like to play for a smaller scale, then it would go for a promotional event, university-based. So, but we can talk about that later on. Yeah? Thanks.
Perfect. So finally, we have the slides. So together with Sheenam, the current director of the project support unit, I'm happy to present this Accept and Respect project. As I mentioned, it's one of the EU-funded projects. And as the name suggests, so it's the topic's focus or theme also, to accept and respect everyone, especially in a multicultural setting. So I would like to start with generally the why. Fan of Simon Sinek's Start With Why. So where it all began. So this was starting mostly with my interactions when I was forming the team during the previous term for the project support unit. So we had a lot of these discussions on how their program is going, so there were a lot of some sensitive conversations we had, and then together as a team meeting, we had some kind of discussions on what are as going forward for the next 6 months, 1 year, what are the projects that we can focus on. So that is where we kind of prioritized some of the focus areas and where this non-discrimination, tolerance, intercultural, there were a lot of cultural differences, conversations that happened. So we then thought, okay, let's start with some diversity campaigns or to make some awareness about this diversity and inclusion and try to make impact at all levels. So this was the first one which we did. We also had a lot of other members join the project support unit later. For example, Diana, so she came up with this idea of doing a diversity and inclusion video series. So after this campaign, we did a diversity and inclusion video series. So in case you have not checked it, go check it on the YouTube. It's a very beautiful compilation of students' first-hand experiences. So then we were also getting a lot of these proposals from other associations about, okay, can we do this project on non-discrimination? So one of those proposals came from an organization in Georgia, where they proposed this topic, and then we had a call with them, and then we discussed all the intricacies, because we have not done a project where EU-funded project where Emma is the coordinator of the project. So because we had to have like a proper financial system in place for all the budgeting, etc., we have not done it before. So this was more like an experiment for us. As Katharina used to say, learning by doing. So that is where it all started. So the project's focus is on these three aspects: non-discrimination, youth empowerment, and equality. So then we had a discussion, and we brought in some more partners from different countries: Armenia, Greece, Croatia, Hungary. And then this is the consortium that we formed, where Emma is the coordinator and all the other partners. So there are like total 6 countries. And then we decided we will have 6 participants or 6 young people. So basically this project comes under this category. It looks like an alien word, but it's like key action 1, which is basically youth mobility or mobility for individuals involving young people between 18 to 30 years. So that is where it comes from. So we decided, okay, let's have 6 participants per country, and then we'll all meet in Georgia. 10 days where 8 days of activities alone, where they'll have this lot of non-formal ways of understanding this intercultural, accepting the similarities, differences, and then they used to have 6 cultural nights. Since you have 6 different organizations from 6 different countries, they used to have these intercultural nights, and it was completely a very enthralling experience for all the participants. And so this was our first project that got funded. So we were very happy, and I was calculating the number of days since this email. So this is more or less like the 700 today, because we wrote this during the COVID first wave, and then we got it postponed. We had the option of doing it virtually, but we just hoped that this needs to happen in person, and luckily we implemented this last month. So from April 1st to April 10th, we had this youth exchange that happened in Georgia. Now I'll hand it over to Shinam to talk more about what happened, some of the details.
So, as Manase mentioned, that this project was accepted 2 years back, almost 700 days back. And since then, we were waiting for an appropriate time to actually implement it, because we really wanted this to happen as a physical event, because virtually it somehow loses the essence of the topic specifically. And it was very important to bring these different participants from 6 countries and come together, talk about the issues on non-discrimination and equality. So finally, last year in December, with COVID situation improving, we decided that we are going to execute this in the first 10 days of April. And that's when we actually started the preparation phase, which was a lot of calls with the partner organizations, talking about them, practical matters, talking about the info pack, talking about how to recruit participants, where to find the participants, and creating calls to recruit those participants. And I remember I and Manase just taking a lot of interviews, even at 12 a.m. midnight, because we both were in India and most of the participants were situated in Europe. But with a lot of hard work and with a lot of calls, we finally selected the 6 participants, which actually also included 1 group leader. So there were 5 participants aged from 18 to 30 and 1 group leaders that just should be 18 plus, and there was no upper limit to it. Then came the implementation phase, which was April 1st to 10th April. And we will see how it impacted the participants, life in general, or their experience, what their experience was. And now currently we are in the phase 3, so we are working on the dissemination part of it, how to include these participants as well to disseminate some activities in their groups and really create awareness about the topics that they discussed. So this is just a snapshot of our phase 1, which was preparation. Lots of calls, lots of interviews, lots of planning with the finance and legal team. So it was really a team effort. It could not have been done without all the support we had from all the units and our president and vice president. So this is actually a snapshot of the group that was there. I mean, they're not all of them in this picture, but they seem happy, and it seems like they had a really good time in those 10 days. This is more likely what the group was like. So you can see it's a really diverse group. And we will be sharing the dissemination videos very soon, so look out for that on our social media channels. So finally, I would like to end with the testimonials that we received from some of the participants, which ranged from explaining this whole experience as beautiful and wonderful, and most importantly, most of them felt that they started as strangers, but it really turned into a family for them, which you can see. On the left is when they started to meet and they started doing activities and they were so happy. And on the right, you can see when they were leaving, there were so many emotions involved. In fact, there were videos when a few of the members were leaving, getting into their traveler to leave for the airport, and some of the people were really running behind the van, just saying goodbye, goodbye, we'll meet soon. So that there were lots of emotions for those participants. And finally, I think it all, in the end, comes to everything being a beautiful experience. So just imagine this EMA GA. It's an experience for a lot of us. And if we could have it for like 10 days, wouldn't it be like a wonderful experience for like them as in the volunteers, for us, for the community? So, but why not more of this? Why are we not doing a lot more of these kind of activities? Precisely because we need volunteers. So we really need volunteers who can step up, apply for projects, write projects, and execute those projects. We are there to support you. We can't be part of each and every project, but you can take the responsibility. You can really learn from the experiences of other volunteers who have successfully implemented projects. And you can probably be part of such an experience as well. So to reach out to us, you can scan the QR code and you will get our email ID. Thank you.
Yeah. So we asked the participants to give a very quick dissemination material. This is what they were able to do it on a very quick basis. Probably we'll work on this in the coming days, but just to complete this awesome presentation, which started as an experiment and then ended up as a good, excellent experience. So when we accept and respect everyone, we are stronger together. So that's what I wanted to come to. Thank you. Yeah, sure. So lack of time, I think I will have to start the second presentation now. It's been ages since I did a back-to-back presentation. So can we have the GoDigit project slides, please? 6 minutes? Okay. We can do it. Yeah. Should we have the breakout session? Okay, which? Okay, okay, because GoDigit is the flagship project of EMA, which is currently ongoing because the accept and respect is completed. Right now, we are on the dissemination phase, but this GoDigit is going to go on for one more year, where we will be hosting an event in Brussels or Belgium. So that's going to be a massive event. So probably we'll talk about it tomorrow. So thank you for your attention. See you.
everybody, the good, no, I'm not gonna, I promised myself, Thiago, don't be making jokes, be professional, be serious. We will be finished within 8 minutes, so that you know, that's the good news. And I always remember we haven't done yet our official General Assembly chant, and I remember Ashikur was really for this. So the chant, you're gonna have to say things energetically, yeah? So Ashikur, I'm gonna look at you and then you motivate everybody, yeah? Everybody says it together. I'm gonna ask, what is EMA? Everybody answers together, we are EMA. I say, who is EMA? You say, we are EMA, okay? What is EMA? Who is EMA? Very good, very good. One more time for our world audience in the live stream. So guys, what is EMA? Who is EMA? Very good. A round of applause for you guys. Then I'm gonna get 2 volunteers. Can you do this? Everyone needs to get one of these. This is a thing that you're gonna give me back either now or tonight, okay? Could you help? Everybody gets a piece of paper. This is one activity that Katarina is gonna conduct tonight. It's her idea, that's why I'm here saying this. Some of you, I met some of you and I was trying to get a fun fact about you, something that's very specific about you. What I am asking you to do is write down on this piece of paper, don't write your name down, write down on this piece of paper something that happened in your life that if someone comes to you and say, did you get a scar when you're trying to save baby cats and puppies when you were a kid? And everybody was so proud of you that you saved so many puppies and cats. And then, yes, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's me, Thiago. You know, that's not that guy. Or if you lived in some really, really crazy place that's very specific. What is the idea? Tonight you get a piece of paper that's random, and you have to go and find that person. And what is the idea behind this? Because some of the stuff is so random that you have to really ask